The Netherlands robbed a Chinese semiconductor company called Nexperia that based in their country. As a Chinese, I'm not even angry. I actually find it funny. Dutch politicians openly sold out their own national interests just to please Trump. That's truly eye-opening. When the US started the tariff war with China, both sides couldn't beat each other in a single round. And now the Netherlands jumps in, well, that's just asking to be hit. China's countermeasures against the Netherlands are completely reasonable. The Netherlands has long been part of US sanctions against China. From 2019 to 2025, it has consistently acted as America's helper. Around 600 Chinese companies have been put on their sanction list. The most famous example is Osmos lithography machines. They handed the shares to a third party and stripped away China's decision-making power. They also declared that Chinese appointed executives were no longer valid. It's definitely a robbery. And these are the same politicians who keep talking about contract spirit and respect for free markets and so on. The Netherlands even dug out an outdated law of 1952, the Commodity Supply Act. It was created during the early Cold War to deal with national emergencies like wars or shortages of food, energy, and medicine. This time, the reason was recent urgent signals of serious intellectual and behavioral deficiencies inside Nexperia. What kind of ridiculous excuse is that? According to that law, they don't need to notify in advance. If they claim there is a serious supply chain risk, they can unilaterally freeze assets, suspend management rights, and place shares under trusteeship. So the Netherlands actually has this kind of rogue law. If a real crisis happens, all foreign companies and investors in the Netherlands should be careful because under their law, they can seize your assets without conditions. Scary, right? China's response was quick. It banned Nexperia's operations in China. No components, no finished products made in China are allowed to be exported. Although Nexperia's headquarters is in the Netherlands, 80% of its end products are made in China, and the Chinese market accounts for 48% of its revenue. If the Netherlands wants to transfer its profits from China back home, that won't be easy. In short, the Netherlands thought they robbed 100%, but without China even doing anything, China automatically regained 48% back. And what about Osmo, the Netherlands' most important tech company? They rely heavily on Chinese rare earths. Without Chinese supply, Osmo would become crippled. For China to retaliate to the US might be complicated, but revenge to the Netherlands, that's easy. Maybe Dutch politicians don't realize that China is the only country in the world that has all 41 industrial categories, 207 media categories, and 666 subcategories in the UN's industrial classification system. I doubt it. Do they really understand industrial Cthulhu? This means no single country can choke China through one industry. Either China will quickly develop alternatives, or it will counterattack in the industries you rely on. The Dutch politicians ignored two basic facts. One, Nexperia depends on Chinese production. Freezing the shares does nothing except to break their own supply chains. Two, China is the largest market. By offending both your biggest supplier and your biggest customer, you are smashing your own rice bowl, okay? China's countermeasures will be a warning to other US allies. Every time China just wants to do business peacefully, but some countries keep picking fights in favor of the US. Like Lithuania, now the Netherlands. Are you wondering why they'd like to suffer by licking the ass of the US government? Recently, the US government imposed extra port fees on Chinese ships to target China's shipping industry. But after China struck back, China's shipbuilders received even more orders. How can these politicians are both evil and stupid at the same time? Now Trump is starting to soften its tongue after they felt the pain by saying the 100% tariffs on November 1st may not be imposed on China. It still wants to talk. Look at that. They robbed you and then came to pretend to negotiate. If you fight back, they call you the bad guy. They don't believe in righteousness, never. Robbery is a serious crime anywhere. Provocation should have consequences. The Netherlands must pay a price. Even with just economic countermeasures, the Netherlands will suffer greatly. And the Dutch politicians aren't stupid at all. They are just shameless and corrupt. But the Dutch people who have been betrayed will suffer. What a pity. Follow me on Eastern Perspective to see the world.